What's up? The Sports Bag Brothers are back. As you can see, Scott is here. Trav is still getting better. I gave an update last week. He reached out to me today. Symptoms are subsiding, so good luck to him on getting better. Get well soon, Trav. Scott, what's good, bud?
NBA playoffs, NFL draft tomorrow. It's all happening.
Right. Well, since the playoffs have been going on, let's get into the playoffs. I know you're a Celtics fan. What do you have going on, or what do you think's happening in that series?
I'm a little bit conflicted, obviously. Well, not too much, but I mean, I love the Magic, and but I've liked the Celtics since before there was a Magic, and I'm thinking if this could be Orlando's year, I would be a little more conflicted. I don't think it is. I think the Celtics have a much better team this year. So I expect them to win. Obviously, they're tipping off right about now tonight. And, Orlando's a good team, especially they're healthier now. They're not all the way healthy, but, they're healthier than they've been for a lot of the season. So they've got Paolo Banchero back, and they've got one of the Wagner brothers back, but they don't have Jalen Suggs back, but they're a talented team, but the Celtics are just, especially when they get the guys off the bench to really dial it up. When Peyton Pritchard can dial it up, or Hauser or somebody like that, they can be really tough to beat. Now, just before the show, they may not have Tatum tonight, and that I think that could really hurt them. Again, they've got good backups, but Jason Tatum, I think, is a very special player.
Right, and I was about to ask you about his health. Word is he has a bone bruise. Have you heard if he's playing, or hasn't been confirmed or denied yet?
No, I didn't hear about the bone bruise. I knew he was questionable, but yeah, that'll definitely be bad for them if he can't play. Um, it seems like Porzingis is usually the guy they're wondering whether he's healthy or not. So, but
Right,
there's a lot of
but
people
I'm
upset
sorry. I'm
because
sorry to interrupt you, but there's breaking news. I happen to have a Junior Seau jersey on, and I'm seeing that Steve McMichael just passed away. Hall of Famer for the Chicago Bears. I think he turned traitor and went to the Packers. Defensive tacker, defensive tacker, defensive tackle. So thoughts and prayers to his family. Bears fans, I know we hold him in high regard, close to our heart. He had some health issues the last few years, and he's been called to a higher place.
yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I wish I could say I knew him, but I'm not the biggest Bears fan in the world.
Well, he was part of that '85 defense.
Then I do know him. He was part of
Yeah,
that horrible rap thing they did. The Super
he
Bowl
might have been in
shuffle.
the video, but I don't think he spit any bars.
That's
I
probably
don't think
good call. That was a good call on his part.
no,
Burnished his
but he
legacy.
actually transitioned to wrestling.
Ah,
I believe he went to WCW. I don't remember him in the WWE, but that's he wasn't the first football player to transition to wrestling.
yeah,
So he did well for himself. Rest in peace, Mongo.
good for him.
But anyway, so let's get back to this basketball. If Tatum doesn't play tonight, obviously that improves the Magic's chances. But who would take his place in the starting
That
lineup?
that's a good question. I mean, the way they've been doing it this year is they've been putting Porzingis in as center and then having Horford back him up. If they wanted to go tall, I guess they could put Horford in above him. And I'm trying to think like who is on the guys who I think are so important and underrated, and they may both be starters, but you've got Drew Holiday and then you've got Derek White. So those guys, those guys, you might just want to move them up in the rotation. Now you've got me thinking about it. Let me look at the depth chart.
So,
I'm a little embarrassed.
so as far as Tatum goes, do you think he gets the respect he deserves, or does he get a bad rap
I
or
think he gets the
criticized
rep.
more than he should?
I think the reputation's about as good as it should be because I think you and I have both noticed that sometimes, especially the later it gets in the playoffs, he will occasionally really not show up well at all, and I think his reputation suffers because of that, and that's probably why he's never in the in the most valuable player consideration because he
Right.
tends to kind of fade, and it's cost him in the past. Last year, they built a team with enough depth that they could overcome that. It was like they were ready for it. They didn't want it, but they were prepared for it. And also Jalen Brown, I thought really he really outdid himself. I don't think as much of him as a lot of other people do. And I thought in the finals last year he really came alive.
So I think a little bit of criticism is warranted, not a lot. You you mentioned he hasn't always been big in big moments, and that's something he's got to get off his back. He's got to get that monkey off his back. Apparently, James Harden's never been able to get it off his back. He's had teams that win a lot in the regular season. They had home court advantage, and they've blown leads. And he's in a game 6 closeout game. He's never gone for 40 or 45. In game 7, he didn't go for 35 or 40. He makes poor decisions at the end of games. Doesn't shoot the ball when the clock's running out. Passes the ball too late, and his teammate can't get a shot off. So I think Tatum's way better than Harden, but he does deserve some criticism. And I think Harden doesn't get enough criticism.
I don't know. I hear a lot of criticism, especially when it comes to his defense. But
Well, I mean, I guess I've seen some people talking about, he averaged 34 a game, 35 a game, whatever it was, and they're saying he could do this in the 80s. He could have done that in the 90s. And come on, man. It, they don't play defense nowadays like they did back then. He would
right,
not average 30 in the 80s. He'd come closer in the 90s, but in the 80s, no.
yeah, yeah,
I just don't think he's the player that a lot of people think he is. And especially the last few years, he's had some good games, but he's not the player that was scoring 30, averaging 35 a game a few years ago either.
yeah, yeah, and he's another one of those guys where it's like once he's had enough with the team, he just kind of quits on them. So that's
Seems that way.
that it seems like something he's prone to do. It's funny though. We talk about some players come alive in the playoffs. Like we were talking about playoff Jimmy Butler, playoff Rondo. These guys are the opposite. They're anti-playoff Harden and anti finals Tatum.
Right. And I'm the guy that says, don't tell me what you did, tell me when you did it. And that's why I love Drew Holiday. He's not going to average 25, 30 points a game, but in the last few minutes of a game, he's going to make a steal, a block shot, knock down a three. I mean, he just makes plays. He's a money
Yeah,
player.
yeah. And I think Derek White's a lot the same way. I looked on the depth chart. I wasn't too far off. They do have Harden listed. I guess it's like power forward. They have not Harden. I'm sorry. They have
Horton
Horford. Yeah, after
or
Tatum.
Horford.
So
It's Horton.
yeah. So we'll see. And then the latest I could find was it said Tatum doubtful for tonight. So anyway, before the broadcast is over, we'll figure out if he's playing or not. He'll be in the box score.
So I don't see a lot of attention for the Bucks and Pacers, but there's a lot of animosity between those teams.
Seems like it.
But what's wrong with the Bucks? You would think in former champions, they add Damian Lillard. They have not improved since that
Yeah.
trade.
Well, first of all, they got rid of Drew Holiday, so thank you
Mhm.
for the Bucks for that. They don't seem like they've been the same since then. They got rid of Middleton, and I think they thought Kuzma would kind of fill in for him. And then they added Damian Lillard, and he finally it just got healthy, but I don't think he's 100% yet. And I think he's a little past his prime. He's getting up there in age.
He could be, but yeah, coming back from blood clots, who
Oh
can
yeah, that's
expect
right. Which
first
is
game
good to
back?
see because
Right.
that's going around. Wembanyama had that, and
Wemby
obviously
had
Chris
one also,
Bosh
yeah.
had it a few years back. So it's good to see that he was able to make it back this year from that. So
Right.
and hopefully,
And were the Pacers the home team in the first two games?
I don't know, but they won both games.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just trying to contemplate the Bucks' chances going forward. If they were in Milwaukee, they're done. They're absolutely done.
Yeah, you know what I didn't realize
But
about
you know what? They
Halliburton.
were they were in Indianapolis because Caitlin Clark was at the game.
Oh yeah, I heard Halliburton likes to raise a little cane, so I thought that was I didn't know that about his game, but it does make it a little more spicy. The fact that there might be some fights and stuff like that. And what is it like? Familiarity breeds contempt because those two teams are kind of close to each other, aren't they? Indiana and Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think if Milwaukee's 2 to 3 hours from Chicago, that would make it 5.5, 6 to Indy to Milwaukee.
Yeah,
So
they probably play a lot during the season. Anyway, so that's got the potential for violence there. And I saw a preview that this one might have a potential. I heard the Pistons, although he's been out, they've got a player who it's like they were doing he's like giving odds at +100 that there's a guy from the Pistons he'll fight somebody from the Knicks, but I think he's been injured the whole
wow,
time. I'm trying to find out who that is. It's not one of the good. It's not Cade or anyone like that. I think
right.
it's Isaiah something or other.
Well, he better
But
have a deep pocketbook because if he comes off the bench, the NBA doesn't play with that,
Malice in the Palace.
right? But again, I don't know what's wrong with the Bucks. Yes, getting rid of Drew Holiday hurts, but you think you're giving up defense for offense, bringing in Damian Lillard, but it hasn't come to fruition.
Yeah, I don't know. They it's almost like they knew bad things were going to happen. They got rid of their coach
Yeah.
again.
Um. So, what do you think about the Warriors stealing Game 1?
You know, there's a lot to like about them, and I like to say that all perimeter shooters are streak shooters, but the one exception to that rule is Steph Curry. And when you've got him and Jimmy Butler on the same team, you have a potential for a lot. And and Butler's obviously stepped up the scoring recently, so that's helped them out. I think the Rockets probably eventually pull it out. Um,
Really?
and not a lot of other people are predicting that, but that's I think they're I mean they're really
The
good.
Warriors were minus 200 going into the series, and I think after Game 1 they were minus 375. It may have even
I
gone to
think there's
minus 400.
there's this love for these legacy teams, and I think it's a little bit unwarranted. Everyone's like the Lakers, the Warriors, those are the teams we know, those are the teams we love. I think these new young teams are gonna really surprise them in terms of the Thunder aren't going to surprise anybody too much, but I think the Rockets will surprise some people too because they've got some good players and they've got a good coach.
We'll see. I think people are, yes, they're picking the Warriors, but when they refer to the Rockets, they always talk about their defense. But since the Warriors picked up Jimmy Butler, their defense is vastly improved.
Yeah.
So I don't think people take into account the Warriors defense. They were held to 95 points, but they held the Rockets to 85. And people were saying, well, this guy didn't play well, and that guy didn't play well, and this guy only scored so many points, and Şengün was the only guy. Well, maybe the Warriors had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Because usually, I mean, defense travels, and if non-stars are going to play well, they're going to play well at home more so than they will on the road. And the Rockets were at home. We'll see tonight. They'll be playing for their playoffs lives because there's no way they can go to California down 2-0.
Yeah.
And so that leads me to the Lakers. They were playing for their playoff lives last night, and they did a good job responding to the T-Wolves. I don't know if you saw any of that game.
No, that was a little late for me.
Well, the West Coast games normally start after 9 o'clock, but they've been starting around 8:30. Well, my time anyway. It'd be 9:30.
Yeah, the one tonight starts at 9:30. I saw that.
Yeah,
9:30 my time.
30 minutes earlier. But yeah, the defense. The Lakers responded. Their defense was much better last night. They held the T-Wolves to 85 points. But now they got to go to Minnesota. So who you got in that series?
Okay. Remember, I hate the Lakers, so I'm a little biased. But I've got the Timberwolves. I thought they came out
According
strong.
to the name on my screen, I am biased.
Yeah, but I'm the guy who plays bias on the YouTube channel. I'm biased against the Lakers, but I mean the Timberwolves are a good team. They're fast. They obviously they lost a little bit, without Carl Anthony Towns, but I mean they've got a
Did
good
they
squad.
really? I mean, what is he doing for the Knicks? He only took 2 shots in the second half the other night, I think.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if they're really. I don't know if they're really missing him.
Yeah, Stephen A. ripped him a new one, but
He deserves it.
yeah. But they've got some veterans like Conley, and they've got some young guys. I mean the Lakers could take it. One guy I'm higher on, I think, than you are is Hachimura. I think you're not a big fan of his, but I think that guy, he's pretty solid.
I think he's too inconsistent to be solid. And my thoughts on that series is the Lakers were playing for their playoff life last night, and now they're going to Minnesota where the Timberwolves are going to be more comfortable. That crowd's going to be raucous.
LeBron's not going to get as many calls.
I think it's going to be hard for the Lakers to match the energy they had last night in games 3 and 4. But you never know, because the way the T-Wolves played in game 1, it's going to be hard for them to match the shooting they had in game 1. Naz Reid was 6 of 9 from 3. They shot at a crazy clip. So
he'll have some big nights.
But Ant hasn't gone crazy. So we'll see.
Yeah, so he's due. So
yeah, I can see that series going 3-1 going back to LA in favor of the Timberwolves.
Yeah, very easily. Very easily. Well, let's talk about the Thunder and the Grizzlies, because that was just a shellacking of major proportions. That first game, 51 points. I mean, I think that was maybe a record.
It probably is a playoff record, if not a record. But I don't understand how you lose by 51. At some point, they had to just throw in the towel, like, well, we're not winning tonight. But you have to have some kind of pride. It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not a Tuesday night. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares, in November. It's game 1 of the playoffs, man.
Yeah.
You got to do better than 51. And they did better in game 2, but that game wasn't
Not
contested either. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they yeah. I think the Thunder rolled through the Grizzlies pretty easy. So what about the Nuggets and the Clippers? Clippers are showing signs of life.
Well,
Kawhi is definitely
can't throw the dirt on Kawhi just yet.
not yet,
you
not yet.
know, I don't know which Morris is on ESPN now. I don't know if it's
Oh
Marcus
yeah,
or
I saw him.
Marquise,
I think I want to say it's Marcus.
but about a month ago, he they were talking about who's the most feared player in the league, and he said Kawhi Leonard. Everybody laughed at him. I laughed at him. I was like, nobody fears Kawhi anymore. Kawhi needed to remind us, and he reminded us in game two.
Yeah,
Question is, will he be healthy enough in game three, game four, going forward to repeat that performance?
that's the question. And I saw Stephen A. and Marcus Morris, and he was like one of his top five issues or one of his top five topics for the playoffs so far was Kawhi Leonard, and he showed out. And Marcus was going, "You should have known that. You should have known that." And he was like, "Well, I wasn't sure if he was going to show up." And then because he's always injured. And Marcus
Right.
was like, "I'm not buying that." So it was kind of funny to see him being unreasonable with Stephen A., who's usually unreasonable with everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and now they're calling them a championship contender if he's healthy. It's one game. We have to, I say we have to pump the brakes, And now if
Yeah.
he goes four straight games, five straight games, 40 plus, like, well, okay, Kawhi's back with a vengeance. But hey, we can't get too excited after one game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a
But
ways to go.
that's gonna be an interesting series. They're 1-1 going back to LA now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So Clippers have momentum. They won game two. Now they're going home. We'll see what the Nuggets how they countered Kawhi.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Nuggets are fairly healthy though. Well, yeah. Yeah, because they got I think they've got Aaron Gordon back. How about the Cavaliers and the Heat?
Has- Have they played game two yet?
Not yet. Probably
Yeah,
tonight.
that game was weird because I watched
Yeah,
some of
tonight.
it. I saw the Cavaliers were up, and then the Heat got it down into single digits, and then they lost by like 18 again, or like they got blown out twice, I believe.
Well, the interesting thing about the Heat is I think they're really dependent on scoring on Tyler Hero. And
Yeah,
and like I said before, I think all perimeter shooters are streak shooters, and when he's on, they can win. And when he's off, I don't think they can win. So far, he's been on, and so that's how they made it through the play-in. And yeah, well, he wasn't on enough for them to win the first game, but yeah, he did pretty well. He kept them in it. And he's developing more game. He's not just a perimeter guy. He can score a little inside too. When they start to cheat to guard him at the perimeter, he can get past. He can kind of get past that. All
yeah.
right.
I just think the Heat are missing a number one guy. I can see Adebayo as a two or a three, and I can say the same about Tyler Hero, but neither one is a one.
No.
Like they
Yeah.
they need a really strong effort from a group of guys if they're going to beat the Cavaliers. I don't
Yeah.
see it happening.
And they've gotten rid of a bunch of guys that they had when they went to the finals and got smoked. But yeah, I remember them beating the Celtics that year. So I don't know. I'm
So,
not,
did you catch Nico Harrison's comments about Luka?
yeah. Hey, what did he say? I didn't realize how much people liked him.
Something to that effect. He knew he was loved, but he didn't know to what extent. I don't get it, man. Why? I don't know how he still has his job. He's saying if they were healthy, they'd be championship contenders. I don't see it.
I don't either.
Um, I'm Kyrie and AD. They could be a formidable duo, but as you see, most teams that win championships have three guys you can rely on,
Right.
or three almost superstars, and I don't see Dallas having it. Plus, how can you put all your eggs in AD's basket?
Well, I
They
guess
traded for him, and he played one game and got hurt that game and was out for weeks.
yeah. I guess the reason the way that he still has a job is that's what the ownership wanted to do. You know, he was, and who knows why? You know, we've talked about the change of the guard there, and the fact that Mark Cuban's no longer in control. But I mean,
Yeah,
he must
I'm
be
here. I heard things are so bad that even Dirk is trying to distance himself from the Mavericks franchise.
the only team he ever played for.
Right? Like, I don't know. It's funny,
And I guess their only championship too.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There've been so many guys getting canned this year. The Denver one is still the most confusing to me, and they fired the GM there too. So
Oh, I totally forgot the Nuggets fired their coach.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was the
So
weird one. Just I mean the Milwaukee the Milwaukee one. It's like we've seen this story before. That I think it was Budenholzer. They fired Budenholzer a few years ago, and then somebody
right,
else fired him this year.
Phoenix, I think.
That sounds right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy. Yeah, their coach got run.
Well, I can't blame Budenholzer. When they traded for KD, they had three guys on their roster, and then they had to supplement the roster with probably guys who obviously are not going to be part of a championship team. You
Yeah,
know, I often tell Trav, when Mike Ditka became the Bears coach, he went he had a team meeting and he says, I got good news and bad news. Good news is we're going to win the Super Bowl. Bad news is a lot of you guys aren't going to be here. And I think that probably applies to the Phoenix Suns, you know, their next coach, because that
I,
that
I
is
think.
not a championship roster.
Yeah, I think KD was just a bad idea all around. He just seems like he's checked out all the time. I think, at least on the scoring side, Devin Booker is amazing. And I think, like in the years past, they were trying to build the team around him. But then, you got the chance to have KD, and they couldn't pass it up. But I think, if they can keep building the team around, they have to kind of rebuild it now back around Devin Booker. They can be better.
Yeah, I think KD's definitely on the trading block.
Yeah, and as much as I want to like the Gator they have, he's just not healthy that much. So it's
Who's the Gator?
that guy. He played 1 year for the Gators. The guard.
Who?
He
Bradley
played for
Beal?
what's that?
Who?
He
Bradley
played a
Beal?
long time. He played a long time for Washington. What?
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Bill. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they thought they had a big three scoring, but I think a lot also they they didn't play a lot of games together. One of them was always hurt.
Probably
When,
Beal.
when the injured guy came back, then someone else would go down. So it's hard. It's hard to win games that way.
Definitely. 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 Well, I would say, what do you have any predictions you want to make about the playoffs? Like who's going to get in there going forward? Because mine, I was looking at mine, and mine are very chalky, but I don't think it's what a lot of other people are picking.
So I have the Celtics coming out of the East. In the West, I haven't made a decision, but um, I don't know. It's hard to go with OKC because they're so young, and I think a lot will be determined by how far the Rockets and Warriors series go. If
Right.
the Warriors sweep them and they get some rest going into round 2, watch out. Then they get the T Wolves or the Lakers.
Yeah. I
And that series, it could maybe go 6, 7 games. We'll
yeah,
see. But
I
I think a
see
rested Warriors team is very dangerous.
I see it. I see it in the West. I see the Rockets, and this is the chalk part. But like I said, not many people are expecting. Doesn't seem like the Rockets. I think you get the Rockets and the Thunder, in on the West side, and then in the East you get the Celtics and Cleveland. And I don't really know beyond that. I have a hard time counting out Oklahoma City, but like you said, they are young and also it depends on who stays healthy during the playoffs because that can be a big deal. I mean,
Right.
like Tatum. By the way, did I say that Tatum is out tonight? He's not playing, and they started Horford instead of him.
Hold on, we got a comment here. My Samoan OG, he's back.
Uh-oh, the angry Samoan.
He wants to know when we're coming to Samoa.
Yeah,
The
road trip.
Aloha Tiki's best NBA team in day one supporter. I'm day one supporter.
The Aloha.
Yeah, I don't know if the league plans on expanding there. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know what the Sports Bag Bros budget is, but if we've got first class airfare to American Samoa, sign me
Oh
up.
man, I would love to visit.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah,
But anyway, yeah, I think it's gonna come down. If Kawhi's gonna drop 40, if he's healthy, maybe they are a championship contender. But
yeah,
that remains to be seen. I think a lot of questions need to still be answered. But I think coming out of the West, it's gonna be probably out of those 3 teams.
yeah,
OKC, Warriors, Clippers, maybe the T Wolves. I have no faith in the Lakers
me neither.
because when the rubber hits the road, if I want to put Luka in screens, who is Luka going to stop? Who can he stop?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he can stop Zach Edey with the ball, but you know, but a
If
quick guard,
if he was a foot taller, maybe.
yeah, but a but a quick guard, putting him in pick and roll situations, he he's gonna get schooled.
Yeah,
And Austin Reeves isn't much better. I mean, he tries. Sometimes Luca doesn't even try.
yeah.
But I call Vucevic a turnstile. Luca's pretty much the same.
Oh, yeah,
A free turnstile. You don't even have to put in any coins.
yeah, yeah. Reeves is good on offense. I haven't really watched him that much on defense. That was a big part of LeBron's game. I'm not sure if he's that great anymore on defense, but he'll put in some effort. But I don't have a lot of faith in the Lakers either. I don't see him going that far. I like that you're bullish on the Warriors. I've always liked them. I've always liked Butler, and I like Steph Curry. So I always like to see him do well. So we'll see.
Yeah, their issue will be playing against a big man.
Right.
And in the next round, the Lakers don't have a big man, and the T Wolves' big man is Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not anybody they have to fear.
No, no, not much on the offensive side there. Yeah, Shingun is he's an excellent scorer. He's a decent defender as well. But
Yeah,
I don't
he
know.
he was about the only one that played well the other night. We'll
I
see
know
what happens tonight.
I had him in fantasy this past year, and he was just awesome. I'm like, I can't say his name, but his points are off the charts.
Anyway, you got any more NBA, or should we talk about tomorrow's NFL draft?
Yeah, let's talk about the draft.
All right, what's on your mind?
Well, it seems like the first pick is a done deal. Everyone seems to feel like Cam Ward is going first. and there seems to be a consensus forming around Travis Hunter going second. But some of the comps I heard were interesting. I heard him compared to Micah Parsons. So
Travis
interesting.
Hunter?
Yeah, Travis Hunter. Yeah, different position. You know
Right.
what? Micah is like a he's like a outside linebacker.
He's an edge rusher.
Yeah, but he plays kind of all over the field. He's more than just a pass
He
rusher.
doesn't play cornerback though.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That's
That's a bad
maybe
comp.
maybe they were trying. Maybe they were saying like impact wise, he could have that big of an impact.
Maybe. I
But
mean, but
I
as
don't know.
far
Do
as a
you,
comp, maybe they could say Charles Woodson, perhaps Dion. Maybe not as great at. I mean, who is as great as Dion as a cornerback? It's a very short list, but we'll see how well Travis is on the defensive side of the ball.
yeah. Do you think the
But
Browns take him?
I hope not for his sake.
I mean, they
I
really
hope
need a
not.
quarterback. I guess
That's
they're.
like that's like football Siberia,
Yeah, I know.
Cleveland Browns. Oh man. But yeah, I'm with you. Everyone's saying Cam Ward, but I don't see it. Is he really that quarterback, that generational quarterback? Is he gonna be
Travis wasn't totally sold on him either, and he's a
is he
total
gonna be
hurricane.
yeah, and he's a Hurricane fan, right? Is
Yeah.
he gonna be a 10, 12-year starter for you? I don't
One
know.
of the things that I really noticed about his game was he seems to have the touch in the short field. Like everyone used to always look for a cannon arm, but
Mhm.
now I think folks who succeed in the where your passing plays are not quite as long tend to have that touch like Patrick Mahomes has and other people have, and he's been compared to him. And I'm not saying he's as good as Mahomes, but I do see some similarities in their game.
So did you see that report? There's supposedly an NFL GM who trashed Shador Sanders.
I saw something about that.
Something about it was the worst interview he's ever had with a potential draftee. Um, his sense of entitlement is ridiculous.
Oh no.
And so here's what I think. I think it could be a GM who's maybe around pick 12, 15. He's trying to put
He's not
stuff
going to
out
get him
there.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Who wants him to fall down to 12 or 15
Yeah.
and then take him? But I mean,
Or
I don't see the point behind it. Why trash a potential draftee? What does that GM get out of it?
yeah. Or you're maybe Travis Hunter or Mason Graham's agent and you leak that out there. I heard that GMX said that guy was a sorry interview, so he doesn't get ahead of your guy.
Could be,
I
could
just
be.
yeah, that's like remember last night or last show we were talking about Travis Hunter wants to play both ways or neither.
Right.
Was that accurate? Is he saying that now?
I haven't heard anything else about it, but I
I
saw it
haven't either.
last week.
I know, but that's one of those. I think that's one of those rumors that gets out there from somebody else who wanted their guy to go in front of Travis Hunter. So some agent, maybe a rival agent, may have put that out there.
Yeah, you're thinking now. You
Yeah.
got
What
some good ideas.
Well, you know what we talked. We talked about that last week. Is the only information you want to put out there is misinformation. So you're throwing people off about
Right.
who you really
It's
want.
lion season. Correct. Yeah,
Absolutely,
that's for sure.
absolutely. All right. So after the Browns, the Giants are going, and it seems like Abdul Carter is the consensus there.
Okay. So oddly enough, I'm wearing my Huskers hat. Coach Matt Rule, Nebraska's head coach, he was asked about Shador Sanders, and he says that he thinks he would thrive in New York, and he should definitely be drafted in the top 3. And he has nothing to gain, so
Yeah.
I believe he's giving his honest opinion.
Yeah.
But that's just one coach.
Yeah. You gotta have a hide like a rhinoceros though to play in New York because the media is just savage, and fans are pretty savage as well.
Yeah, I think he'd be fine though. Look who his dad was. He's always been around it. I'm
Yeah,
sure Dion has groomed him. He's groomed him for this life.
yeah. But I mean, Dion hasn't gotten a lot of bad press, though, has he?
I think more so from haters, but
Maybe.
yeah, but I know the New York media can eat up some people, but Shador's he's had the light on him for a few years now.
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
think New York would bother him at all.
Yeah, I remember. I really. I'm the kind of guy who would normally dislike Deion Sanders because he was a Nolan and I was a Gator, and but I remember one of the first interviews he had in the NFL. I think it was the first time he touched the ball in the NFL. He ran like a punt or a kickoff back for a touchdown. Everyone was like, "Oh God, this guy's special." And they interviewed him, and they were like, "Going, so did you think, right away you'd have a touchdown right off the bat? Is that what was going through your head?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "I was looking at all these big guys coming at me, and they're so fast, and I was just running for my life." And I was like, that sounds like that's a pretty humble statement, and that sounds like what everyone says in the NFL.
Yeah, I've never had anything against Dion. Um, I think one of the funniest stories he told was when he was playing baseball. Bo, he said he combined to hit, I think it was either 3 or 4 home runs with Bo Jackson. Bo actually hit his over the fence, and Dion's was an inside the park home run
Because he
because
was
Bo
that fast.
dove for it and missed it. And I think he actually jacked up his shoulder, so the ball rolled to the wall. Dion made it home, but you know, there's a little bit of humility in that statement saying, "Me and Bo combined," but Bo he had this many, I had the one.
Yeah, yeah, he was more of a power guy. Okay, so I guess the Giants they probably get Abdul Carter. They've got Thibodeau. He's a pretty good pass rusher, but I guess you can always use more.
Yeah, I
And
don't think
then
you can ever have enough pass rushers. Look at the Eagles last year.
yeah, and then the Patriots are next, and I've heard a couple of offensive linemen, a few of them mentioned actually, Calvin Blanks, Armand Minbu, and today I heard Will Campbell from LSU mentioned. So it seems like that's one way they could go is providing some more protection for the young QB.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. That's what I would do, and that's what I want my Bears to do at 10.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I just got a notice from the NFL office, and it said Ashton Genty is going to be drafted. They're just going to give a piece of him to every team this year.
I don't see how that makes sense, but okay.
I'm just joking, but doesn't it seem like every team has been like, oh, well, they'll get Ashton Genty if Ashton Genty falls?
Yeah, so I'm hearing the Raiders at 8 will get him
That's
if
what you
he's
hear
there.
most.
And I hope they do take him because, again, I'm a Bears fan and I'm hearing the Bears really like him. So I don't want them to take Genty. Who will block for Genty? Who will block for Caleb Williams if they don't draft a lineman?
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the reasons I mentioned his name is not a lot of people are saying the Jaguars will take him, but I'd kind of like to see them take him. He was actually born in Jacksonville. He didn't spend a lot of time here, but he's from a Navy family, so he was actually
Do they need
born.
a running back?
Depends on who you ask. I mean, they've got Trevor Etienne, who
Right.
is okay. Two offensive schemes ago, he was really good. Last year, he wasn't as good, and they've got a guy behind him who I don't think is all that good either. I mean, he's good. They're just okay. I think Genty's kind of exciting, and he's I I don't know. Maybe that might just be me. I haven't heard anyone other than me saying that they could get Genty because a lot of people are saying Mason Graham. And I did see a little tape on that guy. He seemed like a really boring pick before, but I heard someone say that, he can just take over a game. And it's like, he can take over a game in college. I'm not sure if he can in the pros, but I don't know. Just defensive tackle is not the most exciting position in the world.
Well, I don't know if I said this to you. I'm pretty sure I said it to Trav. Hold on, we got a comment. Do you guys cover baseball too? Rarely.
Not today.
Um, yeah, not today. We do cover baseball if there's an interesting story. Last year, Arias was flirting with 400 deep into the season, so we talked about him. We talked about Ellie De La Cruz. He's probably the most dynamic, most electric player in the league. My current favorite player. But baseball's just so long. We're still in April. No reason to talk baseball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do love baseball. As you can see, my
Yeah,
background
you
back
do.
here is White Sox Park. We just don't talk about it often on the show.
Yeah,
But
you and Trav both like it a lot more than I do.
but as I was saying, I told Trav. What did I tell Trav? I got sidetracked. Oh, as far as Ashton Genty
Yeah.
and perhaps being a game break type running back. You know, I watched Barry Sanders in college. I watched Marshall Falk in college. I watched LaDainian Tomlinson in college. I don't see Ashton Genty being any of those guys.
Yeah. Maybe he's just he had a good agent, a good publicist. Who knows?
I mean, he did rack up a lot of yardage. I just, I didn't see anything special. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. I just, when I watch those guys, I'm like, wow, those when you're watching special. I just didn't see it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it didn't jump off the screen to you. What's interesting? I think there are few places that no opposing team should have to play, and one of them is
That
at
blue,
Boise.
yeah,
The
the
Smurf turf.
blue, yeah.
No
Screw
one should
that
have to
place.
play there. No one should have
Maybe,
to play there.
maybe I couldn't see how great he was because of the turf. I don't know.
Yeah, he was hidden in the turf. He was
Right.
hitting in the turf. But the other two places are Cameron Indoor. Come on, get a real stadium, Duke. They've got all these great players. They play in like this high school sized gym,
Yeah, it holds
and
like
then the other one.
4,000 people.
What's that?
I said, yeah, it holds like 4,000 people.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and they're so good. Um,
Even the Indiana Fever get their games moved to larger arenas.
right. What was it? And Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's like really messed up. It's like your players, you're under the goal, you're under the basket, and it's just weird the dimensions there. It throws all the shooting off. So, um, um, yeah,
Yeah, I
those
have
are
a
those are
feeling.
my three. Shouldn't have to play there.
So Samoan OG has another comment. Is Stephen A. Smith and LeBron beef still going? I don't think so. I think that's over. We'll see if LeBron was pretty much trash in game one, wasn't he? And Stephen A. didn't really let him have it. So I, I I said it back then. I think LeBron punked him because Stephen A. is known for bloviating and standing on business, and then when he talked about LeBron confronting him, he was quiet and reserved and didn't show no emotion. And I was like, man, say something. Stop being a punk. He
Yeah,
got punked.
yeah,
But anyway, back to football.
yeah. He'll find someone new to argue with next time. I mean, Stephen A. That's his whole thing is yelling at people. So
Hey,
occasionally
so
someone who
so if there's any first take fans watching this, please let me know. I have a question. Let me know in the comments. Is Molly Kiram the most annoying person on television? Because every time I can't watch First Take because every time there's a decent debate going on, she has to start talking and fuck it all up. And so I changed the channel. I can't stand her. She's so annoying. I don't think there's anybody else more annoying than her.
So that's why that guy from Michigan divorced her.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know how he even married her. I don't know.
She's pretty good looking.
Yeah, but once she starts talking, she's ugly.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's all of these, and CBS Sports is the same way. It's like they've got to have so many whenever they're covering men's sports, they've got to have so many women on at one time. And sometimes it's just all women, and CBS will have like they'll usually have two women, and then they'll let a guy on. But anyway, I guess I don't know. Maybe that's what she is, but she is nice to look at. So, whenever I see her, I'm like, oh, what are they talking
Yeah,
about? And then I'll be like, oh,
she's
Stephen A's on
she,
there. I'm out.
she's on a show that you can't watch with the volume down.
Yeah, I guess not.
Anyway, so speaking of women, I saw a thumbnail for a video on YouTube where someone said that if Asia Wilson, and I know you're not a WNBA guy, neither am I, but I guess she's the best player in the league and won a couple MVPs. They're already creating excuses for her, saying that if she doesn't win the MVP this year, it's going to be because of MVP voting fatigue. Can they at least let the season start? Please let the season start. Let the play speak for itself. You know, to me, it stems from n- not wanting to give Caitlin Clark her due respect.
So she didn't
You
win
know,
the MVP, Caitlin Clark.
last year, who?
Yeah, Caitlin.
No, but I think she finished fourth or fifth.
No,
She
okay.
took a trash team to the playoffs,
Yeah.
and after the Olympic break, she was balling. She was dropping crazy numbers, and so I think haters are anticipating she's had a whole off season. She didn't play in that bullshit 3-on-3 rival league. So she's gonna be rested. She's been working out and they're probably expecting her to have a monster season. And so trying to get ahead of the game, if she wins MVP, they're already trying to create a narrative to discredit her.
Right. Is there some new woman who's coming in, like a rookie from Colorado or something like that?
No, Paige Becker's from Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay. Yeah. Every
Yeah.
time I want to find some NBA news, ESPN's always, I've always got to look and see her. And I'm not, I guess she's pretty good. I haven't read the news.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She was actually rated ahead of Caitlin Clark coming out of high school, but she had a major knee injury, so she missed the season, and that's why she's still in college. And they won the national championship not too long ago.
I gotcha.
So yeah, she was drafted number one.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my little rant. You got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, that's our show for today. I'm going to try and come back tomorrow. I don't know if I have a partner, but I will not do the show alone. So wish me luck. I'm
Good
biased.
luck.
That's Scott.
Now,
Thanks.
what's it?
Peace. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, what's the show tomorrow about?
The NFL.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought, because I saw like, it looked like last week, maybe you did one on boxing or something.
No, I didn't do one on Thursday. The guy who was going to join me was a no-show.
I got you.
Yeah, he goes by the name of Bosco from the Bronx, but he is now Bozo from the Bronx. Thanks a lot. That's my guy too. I've known him for 30 years, 25 years. Came to visit me one time when I lived in Indianapolis. We share the same birthday, June 9th. And then he's a no-show after confirming with me. He's Bozo he told me he owes me one. Yeah, no shit, Bozo.
All right.
Anyway, I'm
I got to
biased. That's
run.
Scott. We're out.
I'll talk to you later.